Alright, you read the title of this video. My life-changing self-improvement, self-development journey. That's what we're going to discuss today. I've got a pretty heart-wrenching, deep, not the most positive story that I want to run you through. And it's going to give you a good bit of context as to where was my starting point. Okay, so you see me now. You see the quote-unquote finished product of me running a couple businesses, doing okay for myself in a pretty good place mentally, spiritually, financially, but I had to start somewhere, right? And it wasn't the best start. I'm also very grateful for the place I used to be in. I do believe that if you go really low, right, you're extremely depressed and really not happy with your life, I think something magical happens where you'll never want to be that low again. Right? You will do everything in your power to never stoop that low. Because of that, you'll usually have a bigger rise and you'll probably go further than some other people. That's my thoughts anyway. I could be miles off. I might revoke that statement in years to come, but I'm going to tell you the story anyway. So, it was a sunny day. I was sitting in the car with my mother. I had just come back from a dermatologist appointment, meaning that someone was basically looking at my skin to figure out what the hell was wrong with me. I was 17 at the time. I had cystic acne. I'll get my editor to pop up a couple photos of that, and you can actually probably still see the scars on my face from those cystic acne spots that I had. And I'm sitting there after the appointment, and I just remember the moment so clearly. The sun is just streaming into my eyes. I genuinely have tears running down my face. Keep in mind, I'm 17, right? I'm 17. That's pretty old. And I'm sitting there in the car, and it was just such a poignant moment of realization for me of I'm putting myself in this position. Yes, I have, skin issues. Yes, I look a certain way. But I'm the one who's inflicting all of this judgment, all of this lack of self-confidence on myself. And so that was a huge moment in my life because, up until this point, I'd spent probably about a year and a half in an extremely dark place. I pretty much cut off my friends. I still spoke to them, but I genuinely had not seen them probably in months apart from in school. I would never meet up with people on the weekend anymore. I was basically just closing myself off completely because I was just so convinced that I was never going to be happy, that I was destined to be miserable, and that I looked disgusting. Those were the thoughts I had every single day, and it's kind of crazy now to verbalize that and to actually say it, but that's what I was thinking. And so long story short, I got cystic acne popping up around 15, 16. Didn't really know what it was, had no idea why it was happening, and within a few months I was prescribed Accutane, which is a medication to essentially bring down the cysts and the acne. Okay, it worked wonders, did a really good job, definitely cleared up my skin in good time. Now, it took a long time to kick in. I started on a very low dose of the medication, saw no results for probably the first 6 months, and then we basically doubled the dosage, and I was on an extremely high dosage. Now, I don't know the exact measurements, right, of this dosage, but I do know that it was a lot more than I was meant to have for the body weight that I had at that time. And so because of this then caused more issues with me. Okay, so it caused two things, right? One, if you Google the side effects of this medication, one of the big side effects is depression and suicidal thoughts and things of that nature. But secondly, is that it caused my skin to dry up really fast and quite aggressively. And because of that, I developed this weird condition. I have no idea what it's called. My lips basically would scab over, the skin would not properly regrow, and it just looked, in my mind at the time, I thought it looked pretty disgusting. And so now I had these two things going on, right? I had these big cysts on my face, and now I had this issue with my lips, and as a pretty shy, insecure kid anyway before this, this just led me to be extremely shy, extremely insecure. Going to school and not wanting to talk to anybody because you just thought they were going to judge you on how you looked. That's the kind of state I was in, not a very good state to be in. But as I briefly mentioned, I had that rude awakening. That moment when I was sitting in the car with the tears running down my face, and that was that moment of realization that nobody is thinking this, right? Nobody is telling me you're disgusting or you look horrible or you're never going to be happy. That was me. That was me. I was telling myself that. Very hard realization to come by. And if you're watching this and you're struggling for whatever reason, you could be overweight, you could be anything. It doesn't matter what it is. If you're struggling, just know that a lot of how you feel is probably going to be based on something that you're telling on something that you're telling yourself. It may not necessarily be what other people are thinking about you. It's probably self-inflicted. And so my goal with this video is to kind of show you, after this realization, what did I do? What were the steps I took, and what has gotten me to where I am now? And as I mentioned, I may look back in 5 years and there might be a whole nother transformation that I go through, but I can tell you from experience what happened from age, let's say 17 to now age 24. So step one was the realization. We've gone through that moment of deep realization that I am the one causing all of this pain on myself. Stage two now was action and change, right? It was changing my lifestyle, changing up the things I was doing every day, and really just, committing to taking action on the things that I knew would push me forward as a human. So I did things such as, I stopped watching pornography. I did no FAP, where I, didn't masturbate or ejaculate for a long time. I started taking cold showers. I was already working out at this point, but I got more serious about working out. I cleaned up my diet. I did a whole load of things. I'm a pretty intense person, so for me, that was the route that made sense. And I absolutely love challenges, so I was more than happy to just cut out all those things and just to go all in. I also stopped playing video games. I didn't play much of them at that time, but I still would play Xbox and things like that. I completely cut them. Anything that was making me comfortable and making me feel good, but that wouldn't really serve me down the line, in my future, I would just cut it out completely. So that was stage two. That was action and change. I'm going to call stage three, continuation, right? Because there becomes a point where you've done all the things that you should be doing. You're journaling, you're meditating, you're eating clean food, you're working out, you're doing no fap, and there's not really much else you can do apart from just continuing what you're doing. It's really where a lot of the key benefits come from. It's from doing these things not just for a week or for a month, but doing them for a year and 2 years and 3 years, right? For an extended period of time. So the continuation stage, probably lasted for multiple years. I did things such as I went to Mexico for 2 months teaching English, pretty much went by myself. Lived with a Mexican family, improved my Spanish, met incredible people obviously in that 2 months. But what that did was it really threw me outside of my comfort zone, right? As an 18-year-old, I think I was at the time, that was not something that I particularly wanted to do. It was something that I knew I would enjoy doing, but I knew it would be extremely scary and the more difficult thing to do. I spent time solo traveling by myself for a month in Asia, a bunch of other different things. I won't get into all the details. And stage four really is just you repeating what you've just done in stage 1, 2, and 3. And it's really as simple as that. And so for you guys watching, if you're not in a good place, okay, and you want just literally give me the exact things that you did, just go back to that point in this video where I mentioned what I did, right? Meditation, journaling, I did yoga, working out, stopped watching porn, stopped masturbating, all those things. If you're an intense person, just cut them all out. And I guarantee you, if you cut them out for an extended period of time, you will feel much better about yourself. And it's not because there's some weird voodoo magic that happens, just simply that these are things that are really keeping you stuck. And you've got to realize that, in my stage, when I was 17 and I was doing all these things each day, the end result was me being miserable on a daily basis. So if I just strip those things and kind of rewire my entire thinking, my entire life now looks different and I do different things every day, I'm probably going to have a very different life, a more positive life and a better outcome. So that's what I did. Now this journey, I would say, is really never ending. It's not like I stopped doing those things. I still do most of those things to this day. Some not so much as others, and there's a bit of lenience with them. And some of the things I actually don't do, okay? But all in all, there's a good 60 or 70% of those things, those activities, those tasks that I still do to this day. Because look guys, the real self-care, the real self-care is not taking a bath or using your favorite moisturizer. I do all those things and I absolutely love them. But the real self-care is, doing the things that you really don't want to do, the things that that are going to make you very, very uncomfortable, and just doing them because your future self is going to thank you for them. That's really it. And I hope this video wasn't too much of a sob story or anything like that. I don't want it to come across that way. I just simply wanted to, really just explain what I've gone through and what has helped me to get where I'm at now. As I mentioned, probably going to have to make another one of these videos in a few years as I level up and get to the next level of my life and become more confident and better at a whole bunch of different things. But hey, there's probably some value in you learning what has gotten me to this point right now. So I appreciate you for watching this video. I do hope that you got something from this video. Maybe you learned something, and hopefully you can take some of those strategies away with you. And I do challenge you to implement those into your life, not just for 2 weeks, but for the next 1 to 2 months at a minimum, and see how you feel. I guarantee you're going to feel better. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next video.